Welcome to Alive and Well, the podcast for the new era of high achievers. You're done burning out, and you're ready to lead, work, and live in a rhythm that honors both your brilliance and your body. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a trial attorney turned nervous system strategist, and I've lived the burnout story. I know what it's like to chase your goals at the expense of your well-being. And I also know it doesn't have to be that way. Here, we're redefining success. It's where productivity feels peaceful, boundaries feel like freedom, and energy comes from within. Each week, I'll share practical tools for nervous system regulation, time mastery, and somatic strategies so you can show up with clarity, calm, and confidence in every part of your life. Because you, my friend, were given a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. So here's to life and living it fully. This is the path to feeling alive and well. Let's dive in. Hey guys, Michelle here. Welcome to Alive and Well. Today on the show, I want to talk about being overstimulated because there's so much coming at us, being asked of us nearly 24/7. And I want to talk about some things that we can do to help that today. And if you're anything like me, you've probably had, at least for me, it tends to hit at like the dinner time hour when I've heard all of the dings and pings and requests and I've been like doing all the things for all the people all day long. And then dinner time hits and I'm hangry. The kids are hangry. Everyone's had a full day. And especially, man, when I worked at the law firm and I had to commute home, I just remember those nights, like I'd walk through the door and, you know, everyone needed something. My kids needed help with their homework, or there was invariably like some project or holiday or something that they needed stuff for that I had missed. My phone is still going off because, you know, other people don't have work-life boundary and they are needing things from me and asking me for things. And I'm trying to get dinner going and, you know, the dog is pooping in the corner and my husband's asking where something is and the TV's running and on, even though no one's watching it. Like, tell me I'm not alone. And I remember sometimes I would just go straight to snapping when that happened. But other times I would just like freeze. And it wasn't so much that I couldn't handle any of these things individually, but it was just that my bandwidth, like I was tapped out, right? All of it, all at once felt like too much. And it wasn't even consciously too much, like, oh my gosh, this is getting to be too much. It was like my brain is a browser with 47 tabs open and someone just asked me to load one more page. And you probably know that feeling. I know I'm not alone in it. And it's overstimulation. And what I really want to land for you today is that that feeling is not just in your head. It's in your nervous system. We're living, I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say it because I feel like I hear it all the time, but we are living in unprecedented times with the amount of information and input that we're processing on a daily basis. Like, guys, it's staggering. It's staggering. I saw some stat that said that the average person in 2026 consumes the equivalent of 174 newspapers worth of data every single day. A newspaper's worth of data. And we're consuming that much information 174 times over. And back just like the year I was born, 1986, that number was closer to 40, right? So we've more than quadrupled the input, but our brains haven't evolved to keep up, nor should they. And I think for women, it's even worse because our brains are actually wired to pick up more of the nuance, right? We're wired to pick up more of like what's going on emotionally, what's beneath the surface, what's, you know, being said without being said, all of those environmental cues, the nonverbal cues. We're scanning faces, the people we work with, the people on the street, the people in the grocery store, our partner, our kids. Like, we're tracking the emotional temperature of a room and we're noticing what needs to be done and who needs to be doing it and how everyone around us is feeling, all while we're trying to manage our own internal state. And I think that was adaptive for most of human history, right? It kept our kids alive. It kept our communities safe. But here we are in 2026. And I don't know about you, but I'm not just managing my household. I'm also managing my inbox and my career and my calendar and my content consumption and everyone's feelings. It's this perfect storm for chronic overstimulation. So today, what I want to do is I want to kind of just briefly talk about what overstimulation actually is. And then I want to give you guys some really specific, super simple swaps. Say that 10 times fast. Really specific, super simple swaps that you can make, that you can just start to put into practice, little shifts that are going to give your nervous system some relief from all of that input that causes that feeling of being overstimulated. Okay, so let's start with the why. Why is it that high capacity, high production, right, women are more vulnerable to being overstimulated? What's actually happening in our bodies when it feels like, oh, there's just way too much going on here? Our brains are wired differently than a man's brain. They're wired to detect and process more emotional and social cues than men's brains. It's not value judgment. This is neuroscience. Studies show that our brains have more active mirror neuron systems. What does that mean? It means that we're just picking up more and we're reflecting the emotions of the people around us more. And we're also more sensitive to changes in tone and facial expression and body language. And evolutionarily, this made sense, right? For most of human history, our survival of our kids and our families depended on us being able to read emotional cues and anticipate needs and stay alert for danger. We needed to know when someone was upset or when a situation was off, right? Who needed our attention? And we didn't just pick up on those cues. We held them. Our nervous systems are wired to actually stay alert longer and more than a man's nervous system. We hold stress longer. We ruminate more. We replay conversations and scenarios in our heads. And we're always just kind of like scanning for what maybe we could have done differently or someone else could have done differently or what might go wrong or what, like, just so we can stay ahead of it. And it's adaptive, yes. And it's flipping exhausting because now we're not just scanning for danger. We're scanning everything, right? Our phones and our email and our news feeds and our social media, all the things. Our nervous system is processing all of this as input. Every notification, right? Every decision you have to make, every tab open in your brain, every mental load, right? All the emotional cues, all the things that you're seeing, every request, it's all data that your brain has to sort, your brain has to prioritize, and then eventually you have to respond to. And when all of that input, you guys, exceeds our nervous system's capacity to process it, we feel overstimulated. And when we feel overstimulated, our nervous system does one of two things. And this is not conscious. We don't decide this. Our nervous system, based on collective information, right, and life experience, will automatically send us into one of two states. It'll either send us into hyper arousal. That's when we're kind of stuck in fight or flight. So we feel wired or edgy or reactive, or our mind is racing, can't focus. We're snappy, right? We feel like we're just like, one step away from losing it. Or it sends us into a shutdown state. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning, where it's like, I just felt like, I'm like, too much, checking out, right? Tapping out. I feel numb. I feel flat, going through the motions, but I'm not really there, right? I'm like stirring the pot for dinner, but like Michelle's not home, right? Couldn't access my emotions. I just felt really disconnected from myself and everyone around me. And then physically, it shows up in other ways too. Tension. Maybe it's a tight jaw. Like, do you have chronically clenched jaws, shoulders, right? Shallow breathing, digestive issues, because your gut is literally connected to your nervous system. Maybe it's sleep. Maybe it's just irritability. The feeling is like, I'm fine. I'm good. I've got this. And it also feels like way too much. And I just want to make sure before we jump into these swaps, because this is how I felt. you're not too sensitive. It's not that you're not strong enough. It's literally your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do, right? It was designed to process information. It was designed to keep you safe, but it's being asked to do that in an environment that's just like incompatible with how it was built. The reality is that you and I have limited bandwidth. Like our nervous system has a finite capacity to process input, process demands, process noise, requests, bright lights, like all of it. And when that capacity is exceeded, right, we're taking in more information, we're taking in more stimulation, we're taking in more demands than our system can handle. It's not just that it's like overwhelming, it's actually unsustainable. And I'm not going to tell you guys to just like do more self-care, right? It's not something that's fixed with, I don't know, face masks and bubble baths. I want to give you some strategic like input reduction strategies. So let's talk about it. Okay. Reducing overstimulation. I'm not asking you to overhaul your entire life or quit your job or move to a cabin in the woods, although some days that sounds amazing. I'm talking about the small intentional swaps that kind of subtract input instead of adding, right? So this is like addition by subtraction. I'm going to walk you through a few of these swaps, what they are, how they work, why they work, what they do for our nervous system. Guys, these are simple. They're intuitive. But I think it's really the why behind them that makes them stick, at least for how my brain is wired. I like to know why things work. Okay, so let's go through the swaps. Swap number 1. This is not going to surprise any of you, but let's talk about it because it has that much of an impact. Boundaries around your phone and especially around your notifications. Obvious. The problem is that our phone is a constant source of interruptions. Sometimes it's like long, big interruptions. Sometimes it's just like the micro interruptions, right? The notification, the text, the little alarm, like whatever. And every one of those, every text that comes through or like email, little notification that comes up, news alert, whatever it is, it's a pull at your attention. And every time your attention gets pulled, your nervous system actually has to orient to that new input. So we have to look at what's going on. And then subconsciously, we're assessing, okay, is this stressful? Is this a threat? Is this good? Is this bad, right? And then we're going to decide how to respond or if we're going to respond. And that might sound really dramatic, but it's actually not, because your nervous system doesn't do a good job at distinguishing between something that's actually a threat to us or something that's just feels stressful, right? Like if it's just a text from, I don't know, your mom, or it's like a notification from your kid's school that something happened and you need to call. It just knows that, hey, something's demanding our attention. And every time that happens, guys, there's this tiny spike in cortisol. Now, if that happens twice a day, no harm, no foul. But I don't know about you guys, but if I just let my phone run rampant and have every notification on and have it by me all day long, we're talking like 50 times a day, 100 times a day, right? 200 times a day. And then that's our baseline state. We're just constantly interrupted, being redirected, right? Constantly on alert. And this isn't just like Michelle talking here, right? There have been so many studies on task switching and attention fragmentation. And they show that all of those little constant interruptions, one, they make you way less productive. So if that's something you're wanting to really hone in on, your productivity, you should become so intentional about the boundaries around the notifications on your phone. So it makes you less productive, but they also keep your nervous system in this low grade activation because your brain's always scanning, right? Did anything come through? Is there a new email? Is there a new message? Is there a new text, a new notification? And we're always ready, always on. So that's the first swap. Is I would encourage you, like, take 10 minutes today. If you're sitting in your car in the pickup line, if you're, it's bedtime and everyone's got to bed and you have like half an hour that you're sitting next to your partner on the couch and they're just watching TV, like get into your phone and go through your notifications in your settings and just ruthlessly start to turn them off, right? Any ones that are non-essential, turn them off if they aren't actually urgent. In my phone, every single notification is off except for my bank account notifications. I'm trying to think of what else comes through. Dun, dun, dun. That might be it. Missed calls. I that comes through, and I have my kids' school's number saved in my phone. So if it comes through, I'll see it. But everything else, I've turned off all of the notifications. Slack, notifications off. Text messages, notifications off. Email, I turned the notifications off on my email, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Social media, the news, all of it. Group text, even my family's group text, not my like immediate family, but with my parents and my siblings, off. And there are times I have scheduled during the day where I will grab my phone and I have 10 or 15 minutes set aside where I'll go check through my texts, or I'll go check through my emails, or I'll respond to Slack, or I'll go through the WhatsApp or what have you. But that's it. Because if I let my phone dictate my focus, forget about it. I have to be really intentional about setting specific times to check in. And I would encourage you to do the same, right? And maybe you don't have to start like that extreme, but man, I bet you probably have a bunch of notifications in your phone that are not urgent or necessary, and you could just start to scale them back. And then maybe it's like a monthly thing where you go through your notifications and you like start to reduce the number of notifications that you have set on your phone, because it creates predictability. It creates control. Your brain's going to stop constantly scanning and being interrupted, because it's not going to have to respond to every, ping, buzz, and pull that's coming from your phone. That can be really regulating. The second swap is to start your morning just with limited input. This is something that I fought for a long time, and then I got really serious about it. But for maybe I don't know, when I started doing this work, so let's say 8-9 years ago, for the first 2 or 3 years, I charged my phone by my nightstand, by my bed, right? And I had convinced myself yeah, it's not a big deal. I'll grab it in the morning, and I just want to see what's on my calendar for the day and remind myself what's going on, how much time do I have before I need to be ready, whatever I was telling myself. That was a complete lie. And maybe you're there too, right? Maybe you still reach for your phone before your feet even hit the floor, before you get out of bed first thing in the morning. I get it. I did that for the longest time. But what I refused to admit at that time was that I was actually flooding my nervous system with other people's demands and requests and information and urgency and all of their stuff before my body and my nervous system was even fully online. That first 30, 60 minutes, you guys, of the day after you wake up, that is when your nervous system is most impressionable. The way that your brain waves are functioning at that time, it's kind of this liminal state, right, between sleep and wake. Your brain is transitioning. Whatever you take in during that window is so important because it really sets the tone for your entire day. So if you're in that space, that first 30 to 60 minutes of your day, and you're on social media, or you're checking your email or your calendar or news or what have you before you've even had a cup of coffee or something to eat, you're really priming your nervous system for a full day of activation. And that's what I was doing. I was telling my brain first thing in the morning, there's so much to do today. Everyone needs something from me, right? There's not enough time. I've got to pay attention all day long. There's going to be so much to respond to. You need to be on alert. That's subconsciously what I was priming myself for. And my brain was listening. And then maybe 5 years ago, I got so serious about this. I charge my phone downstairs, and I say downstairs, whatever, the main living area of our house, in our pantry. There's a little charging station. And I put my phone there probably around 6:37. And then I don't touch it again until, 7 a.m. And I wake up early. So that's a few hours after I've woken up. If you can keep the first, maybe start with 15 if this is new for you, but the first 15, 30 minutes of your day screen free, let your nervous system wake up gently, right? Have some water, hydrate, make a tea, have a hard-boiled egg, make a coffee, whatever it is that helps you get going in the morning. Stretch, sit quietly. I grab my Bible, I grab my journal, and I just sit in that. I'll probably do some breath work, move my body, sometimes I just stare out the window and watch the sun come up. Like literally anything that doesn't involve consuming information. This gives your prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain that's responsible for making decisions later in the day and focusing and emotional regulation. It gives that part of your brain time to come online before we got to show up for everyone else. Okay. You can start the day feeling grounded instead of just like on go mode. And that makes everything else feel so much more manageable. Okay. The third swap is building moments of stillness into your day, even for just a few minutes. And I'm not talking about you have to have like this big long meditation practice. Okay. I'm talking about the fact that as a society, we are conditioned to fill every free moment. And maybe free is even generous, right? Every moment with something, right? So it's like if we're sitting at a red light, we've got to be doing something. We've got to be checking our phone or listening to a podcast or a book. Every pause has to be filled. Every, empty thing in our calendar has to be filled. We're folding laundry. We've got to have TV going in the background and we're waiting in the pickup line. We've got to be scrolling and we're making dinner. We have to be listening to a podcast or on a phone call. It's like we've trained ourselves that it's not okay to just be. And listen, I'm the first one who will raise my hand and be like, I struggled with this for so long. And I didn't really understand that my nervous system actually needs moments of either single focus or no focus to regulate. And when we have constant input, right? Information or background noise, even if it's something you guys enjoy, even like calming music or your favorite podcast, even this, right? It keeps your nervous system in a state of low grade activation because our brain's always processing and it's engaged and it never gets to fully just like check out and rest. And the science here too, like we know this isn't just like a nice woo-woo thing to do, like giving your brain some quiet and some stillness. What does it do? It signals safety. There's nothing that we have to like scan for or respond to or like that needs our attention in the moment. And it really teaches us that it's okay for us to downshift. So that's the swap. Can you choose one thing to do today or tomorrow where you're not going to like add input, right? So maybe you're going to sit in the school pickup line today and you're just going to have silence in the car, no podcast. It might be incredibly uncomfortable. Can you lean into that, right? Can you go for a walk without your earbuds? Can you fold laundry without Real Housewives playing in the background? Like, can you eat lunch without, reading or catching up on a report or scrolling your phone? And what it does for your nervous system is it'll give you permission to create space. And in that space, so many good things happen in your brain for your creativity, rest, regulation, all of it. Okay, the fourth swap. The fourth swap is choosing one thing a day to do without multi-focusing. Now, this one might sting a little bit, but stick with me. We have trained ourselves to try to multitask or multi-focus constantly. What do I feel like about multitasking? Can we multitask? Sure, right? There are things that we can do two things at once. If it is, if one of the things requires very little focus from us. So I can fold laundry and listen to an audiobook, right? I can multitask in that sense. However, we are very poor as human beings across the board at multi-focusing, okay? It's really hard for us to focus, be in two places, fully present at once, right? It's really hard to scroll while have a conversation. It's really hard to get any work done if your kids are trying to talk to you. Ask me how I know, right? And we tell ourselves that we're just like, being efficient and maximizing our time and getting more done. But what's actually happening is that we're fracturing our attention, and fractured attention keeps your nervous system in a state of vigilance because our brain doesn't get to fully land on one thing. It's like constantly splitting its focus and redirecting and trying to track multiple inputs at once. And you have no idea how, or maybe you do, how exhausting that is. Maybe we just don't realize, right? And this has been studied. Like the multitasking doesn't just reduce our productivity, it actually increases our cognitive load and it keeps our nervous system in a state of activation. So our brain thinks we're just like dividing our attention because something's going on that's stressful or threatening and we've got to do it, because if we're not focused, we might miss something really important, and that keeps us activated. So the swap is like, can you choose, just start simple. Like, can you choose one thing today, one thing tomorrow where you're going to do just that? Like right now I'm recording this podcast and I'm doing nothing else. My phone is not even on my desk. I close all of the tabs that were open in my browser and I hit record and I pick up my mic and I just talk to you guys. And maybe it's, eating lunch. Maybe you can eat lunch today or tomorrow and just like notice that you're eating lunch, right? Maybe you can sit outside and like feel the sun on your face as you're eating and taste the food that's going in your mouth and chew it slowly and enjoy it instead of doing it, eating at your desk or whatever it is, however it is that you usually eat, standing up in your kitchen while you're doing something else. Maybe it's playing with your kids. Maybe it's going to be 20 minutes where you like sit and play with them or sit at the table and have a conversation with them eye to eye, and you're not doing anything else at the same time. You're not ordering your groceries from Instacart. You're not planning your whatever you have going on tomorrow. You're just there. Maybe it's a conversation with your partner. Maybe it's like as simple as taking a shower in silence with dimmed lights. Like just choose something easy and watch what it does as your brain is allowed to fully engage with just one thing. It's so regulating. Okay. And then the last one is I would encourage you to end your day with a buffer instead of more input, right? This is a non-negotiable if you really want to focus on improving your sleep quality, because we already consume content all day long. And then so many of us continue to consume content right up until, we close our eyes and pass out, whether it's TV, Netflix, social media, the news, catching up on work, like whatever it is, we're doing it until we go to sleep. And then we're wondering why we have a hard time falling asleep or staying asleep, or why our sleep feels really shallow, or why we wake up and we're still tired. There's a lot of things that are happening there. One of which, we talk about blue light. If you wear blue light blockers, good on you. Blue light and the content consumption will keep your nervous system in a state of arousal, because your brain is still processing and it's still tracking and it's still engaging, and it's having a really hard time understanding and learning how to shift from being on to that part of the day where it's like, hey, we're going offline now. Your nervous system actually needs time to do that, you guys. It needs time to down regulate before you're going to go to sleep. It needs a buffer. So the swap is like, maybe tonight, tomorrow, the rest of the week, try it out. Start with 30 minutes, right? Can you make a 30-minute buffer before bed? There's going to be no screens, no input, and you're just going to do something super low stim. Read a book, right? Stretch, breathe, journal, just sit. Whatever feels good to you, as long as it doesn't involve consuming a bunch of information. And for your nervous system, which loves predictability, it's going to signal like, hey, it's time to shift from being super activated to this mode where we can like actually down regulate and be in such a parasympathetic state that we feel safe enough to get deep rest. Our body's going to learn that safe is sleep, because we're going to signal that transition from like, hey, this is the active input part of the day, and now we're shifting into this like stillness, sleepy time part of the day. And it makes all the difference in your quality of sleep. Okay, so those are the 5 swaps, really about just restoring your nervous system's capacity to regulate. And we know that being overstimulated, it's not that it's just uncomfortable, it's actually unsustainable, right? And if we don't check this stuff, it'll lead us to burnout. It'll lead us to a body that can feel like it's stuck in this survival state. And you guys, you don't have to eliminate every input. Like that's not realistic. You have a job, you have kids, you have responsibilities, you live in the world. But the idea is that, like, can we control the things that are within our control, right? Can we create moments of spaciousness? Can we identify these small little pockets of time where our nervous system might be able to have some room to just process and integrate and regulate? Because when we make some of these swaps and we start to reduce some of this stimulation, we really give our nervous system those moments of stillness and of single focus and of quiet. And it's not just that we feel less frazzled, but overall, you're going to notice you're going to become more present. You're going to become more responsive. You're going to become more capable of actually holding the life that you've built without it stressing you out all the time. And that's what this is really about, right? It's not about doing it all. It's just like, how can we create some space for our nervous system to do what it does best, keep us alive, keep us safe, but also to help us actually live the life that we're working so hard to build. So that's what I want you guys to do this week. Choose one of these swaps, just one, and try it. And then notice how your body feels, right? Notice what shifts. Maybe it's you're going to go through your phone and you're going to turn off your notifications or some of your notifications. Maybe you're going to really be intentional this week about keeping, a little block of time in the mornings screen free. Maybe you're going to do laundry this week or pack the kids' lunches or what have you, without anything playing in the background. Whatever it is, give it a try, because your nervous system is asking for it. I promise you, it's asking for these small little intentional moments where it gets to rest. And if this landed today, if you're looking for more information, more tools to help support your nervous system, if you haven't yet, go ahead and grab the free nervous system reset guide. It's in the show notes. I've got some somatic practices in there, some more regulation techniques, some next steps for you just to kind of help you go deeper with this nervous system work. But that's what I've got for you guys today. 5 simple swaps to reduce overstimulation, help regulate your nervous system. Thanks so much for being here with me. I love hanging out with y'all. I love ya. Have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
Thanks for listening to Alive and Well. If today's episode resonated, would you do me a favor? Take 30 seconds and leave a 5-star rating and short review. It really helps to get this show out to other people just like you who could also use the information in this podcast. And if you're ready to take the next step in regulating your nervous system, download my free Nervous System Reset Guide. It's linked right in the show notes. Inside, you'll find simple, body-based practices to help you feel more clear, calm, and connected starting today. Make sure you're following the show so you don't miss out on what's coming next, because you were made to thrive. Fully alive, fully present, and fully well. I'll see you soon.